Yeah, you should turn that one on.
Yeah. How many lefties are on this committee? Left-handed people. I'll explain it to you later on.
Okay. Everybody ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Today is Thursday, June 12th, 2025. It is 10 o'clock, and we... What's that?
It's July 10th.
Oh, my gosh, you're right, July 10th.
He just read it. Yeah, he read it.
I did, read the wrong one. Okay, July 10th. This is a meeting of the Lawrence County Redevelopment Commission. We will call the meeting to order. I would note that as mandated by state statute, this meeting is being broadcast and recorded, so the public does have access to what we're saying. Regardless of what location they're in, your comments can be known to the public widely now or in the future. So we have an agenda presented to us currently with 5 items. I would ask if anybody has any amendments or changes they wish to make to the agenda as presented. Seeing and hearing none, then I want to recognize that we have a new member of the Redevelopment Commission with us, Mr. Jack Kenworthy. Welcome to the Lawrence County Redevelopment Commission. We're very pleased to have you join us, and hope that you're looking forward to having an adventuresome ride.
I look forward to it, thank you.
You bet. Very good. All right, so approval of the minutes is on our agenda. Minutes
Make
were-
that motion.
Right, Jack has made a motion to approve the minutes as presented. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Okay, Wally has seconded the motion. We have a motion and second on the floor. Is there any further discussion about the motion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, like sign. Abstentions, like sign. The motion passes 4-0. Minutes are approved. Next item on our agenda is the Shell building update. As we know, we are in the process of building a Shell building down in the Mitchell Industrial Park. We began this process last year through Mart's Development, who is using Runabaum Construction for construction of the building. The building has been under construction for quite a while. There have been periods when there seems to have been little or no activity. I know some members had a chance to go down and visit with the construction firm project manager, Chris Lazar maybe, within the past couple of weeks. And so I would open the floor to comments or discussion about the current state of the Shell building construction.
Well, I'm one that went. Scott Smith was the other one, and Scott's not here today. But this is some of the things that me and the new guy that's going to be in charge of the building now, evidently sometime in March or early April, Jim Marshall, which was the superintendent, has quit or been relieved. But just, they didn't bother to tell us, so we've been since April, 1st of April, all of May, all of June, without any kind of a superintendent on the project, so it's set dormant. And we paid $45,000 in interest, which is about what that works out to be. Am I right on the money? Okay. But what's not done? There's no concrete work even scheduled for the drives, the docks, the sidewalks, none of that. The parking lots are not ready. There's no power even in the building. They have the panel, so therefore we don't know, like Rex and I discussed, we don't know if it's going to properly ventilate or not ventilate, because you can't turn nothing on. And I don't know if there's anything else that pertains to. Inside of that, inside the building, that has to be shot in with fine gravel and brought to grade for the subfloor to be down. It's not done. And it's not been mowed, and I say that they've actually, this past week, mowed right up against the fence on roadside and right up against the fence on the inside. They haven't mowed a half acre of ground. So it's still needing mowed. None of the front door glasses in, you remember where it's open? And he said he don't even know if they've been ordered or anything. Somebody hauled off all the topsoil that they pushed off of that. So, I mean, we don't even have nothing to go, they're gonna have to buy topsoil and bring back to cover up what they brought down to grade, to get the grade work done. All the downspouts need some sort of concrete form or pipe, because every one of them is going to create a washed out part in the ground. They already have. On the very north end of it, there is where they pull that bank down, and it's huge, as big as this building. As big as what this is sitting on, where they moved the dirt. They have to cut a swale to keep water from coming to the building. It's just cut down and coming straight toward the building. So there needs to be a swale to get water away for that. And I'm assuming Rumbom at the end will clean up their debris. There's steel and panels and all kinds of stuff all the way around the building. Really, that covers everything that I think, other than the fact that I was a little disappointed that they didn't think it was important enough that we were notified that they had fired Jim Marshall or he had quit. And I think it's important that we should have known. We should have at least been informed, because we still pay the interest. The original due date was in March, am I right?
I'd have to check the contract, Wally, I can't remember.
And then after March, it was July, June.
We were told in April when we had the meeting over on the site, we were
Right.
told at that time that it would be either the end of May or the middle of June for substantial completion. That was what we were told verbally.
Right. I don't know that it wouldn't hurt if we had a chat with Rubenbaum or whomever.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't get to go to the meeting because I was out of state, but
This is still dated.
everything that Wally has touched on, I agree with. I made my own list separate from what Wally had went and done, and I already had leveling wrote down. The drainage, of course, we'd already discussed that before in the previous meeting. Without the proper leveling inside the building, you don't have the vapor barrier there. So that's missing. You have ventilation. We don't know if ventilation works or not. Don't have any power in the building, and the only ventilation at this time is because we don't have any windows and doors. You know, so that's your ventilation right now. Lot paving, sidewalk, all those have been discussed. Trim, I don't know if that trim was supposed to be as actually in the picture or not, but that's not there, you know.
No.
So, site upkeep and the punch list, which has never really been discussed by
No.
Marks or,
No, we have to make our own punch list now.
and so, you know, yeah. And what else that concerns me is, you know, I don't know what the city of Mitchell thinks of it. It almost looks like an abandoned building right now. I've been out there several different times and I haven't seen anybody out there.
Yeah.
Since April. Since April, I've been out there numerous times, and any time that I've been out there, I have saw no one,
Yeah.
you know. So, to my knowledge, there's been very little work that's been done on the building since April. You know, and I think, if nothing else, it's been a learning experience that the next time that we do something like this, we're gonna put some time limits on stuff, and if they don't meet them, you know,
Yeah.
they're gonna get charged in some way, you know, because we're paying them, and they don't care at this point whether they're out there on, you know, we don't have any time limit set, you know. They give us a time and then they just extend it, you know, and so, yeah, it's frustrating at this point. I think both Rotobaum and Marks needs to be in here, and they need to give us an explanation and some hard dates.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you know, I think part of it, we kind of have to absorb some of it because we have watched this and I haven't asked.
Yeah.
You know, maybe in April, when I went and looked in April, maybe I should have brought it up.
Well, I intentionally asked in April when substantial completion was gonna be, because they'd already missed their date, you know, and that was when they said the end of May or the middle of June.
Right.
And that was just a verbal, you know.
Right.
That was just verbal, so we didn't have anything on paper that said that, you know. But here we are at this point, where we're probably, you know, getting to the point where we're gonna have to bond, and our clock's gonna start, and we don't have a building to sell.
Right. So I think it would behoove them to visit with us.
Okay.
Absolutely.
You agree? I wholeheartedly believe that we've been neglected. Maybe, like I said, maybe I should have brought it up sooner, but, you know, you just don't expect somebody doing a $5 million building to just walk off and not do nothing. I don't expect it. I get nervous over my kids building small houses, you know.
Well, I've been on a lot of construction projects in the past, and, you know, this, to see nobody out there for 2 months, you know,
Right.
is not what I'm used to, you know, so.
But that's what I've seen.
All right. I will ask that Runabaum show up at our next meeting and provide an update.
I think that's a really good idea.
I will say that Greg has told us that he is actually not reimbursing Runabaum for their claims for the most part at this point. He's paying them some portion of what they're seeking for reimbursement, but he's holding back money from them until he feels they're getting on the project.
Well, you mean Greg is doing this?
Yeah, Greg Marks.
Okay.
He's the developer,
Yeah, they're,
and he arranged for the financing, and he arranged for the construction firm.
yes.
We actually met with the multiple firms.
Yeah, so Jack, we carried out this project under what's called the Build, Operate, Transfer statute, which is different from the traditional public bid. So under Build, Operate, Transfer, there are some advantages and there's some differences from the traditional method, but we chose that method. It gives us some flexibility. It protects us in some sense from things like change orders. If there's, you know, if they had started site development and found there was stone that they had to excavate, we would have already had the price locked in, so they would have had to been the ones to swallow the cost for those kinds of excess expenses instead of sending us change orders. But on the other hand, obviously we're seeing some issues here as well, so it's part of the process.
Well, Wally gave me minutes from the last 3 years, and I've been able to go over those. There's a few months missing, but I'll get with Michelle and see if you had a meeting or you didn't. This is a different kind of financing that I'm used to, but it sounds like we're having trouble holding somebody accountable for the lack of progress. And is it Marks, is it the builder, or is it both of them?
Yeah,
Who's responsible to keep the project on track?
right. So I think that's why we need to get them in the same room.
Get them both down there?
Yeah.
I really believe both of them should be here. I mean, there's no sense in letting them throw the apple back and forth across the room without the other one being here to defend itself.
Do you agree, Jeff?
Yeah, I'd be happy to
Yeah.
have them come, or I'd be happy to request that they show up and see what happens.
So, I mean, right now, I mean, it's frustrating because it makes it difficult for us to go out and, you know,
Right.
advertise, you know, a building. We've got part of a building, you know, but we don't have what we're,
Well, you
you know,
couldn't
what
give
we're
it away
promising
right now.
somebody. You know, ain't, what we're promising somebody to come in, we don't have. You
It
know,
looks like an abandoned project.
yeah, it does. It looks like an abandoned building at this point, you know. And I haven't heard anything from the city of Mitchell that, you know, that they, but at some point, somebody's gonna start asking questions, you know, about what's going on out there. you know.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they haven't already. But, you know, the mayor, some of the city council.
The mayor's terribly disappointed.
I haven't talked to Don since April, but, you know, you've talked to him. Have you talked to him
Briefly.
briefly?
I actually talked to him after a meeting with Heidelberg. Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm not surprised. I mean, I figured Don would be questioning, you know, what's going on since there's not
Yeah.
been much activity out there.
I mean, they were good enough to offer up the ground.
Yeah, I mean, it's still to the benefit of the city of Mitchell that we get this done, and, you know, it's to our benefit, it's to the county's benefit. But right now, you know, we're kind of in a place that I don't think we want to be, because, you know,
No.
nothing's happening, and we have no power, it
No.
seems, no leverage in forcing the issue, you know, other than complaining. And like I told Wally earlier, I said, we're going to have to rethink our approach on this if we do this again the next
Right.
time. Because, you know, without any kind of stipulation in there of meeting,
It has been a learning curve at least, but it's gonna be an expensive one if we ain't careful.
yeah, we won't see this continue to drag on month and month. They just keep pushing it back. Sad to say, it seems to be just a part of the way the systems are working anymore. Nobody wants to take responsibility, and nobody wants to do their job properly. And
I agree with that.
nobody wants, to, you know, to hit deadlines. They don't care, you know, there just seems to be that, you know, everybody wants to push stuff back, you know. At some point, you gotta put your foot down and say that, you know, enough's enough.
Well, I do think we still need to, I don't know this new guy, and I don't know what he's going to do next, but it looks to me like there's a lot of grade work to be done before they can even build anything, and we don't know if we got contractors for the concrete work. We're completely in the dark about this, and I don't like it.
To be honest, they should have been monthly, they should have been here every month giving us a report.
I agree.
They should have been here every month giving us a report. Every construction project that I've ever been involved in the past, you know, the community or whoever it was that was the finance, you know, that was responsible for paying for the project, that was the owner, you know, they had monthly meetings, you know, where they give a project, progress report to the community or to the owner, and we've got none of that.
So I think they should be here. Both should represent themselves. We should be able to get some answers, and we should at least know where we're going from that day forward.
All right. I will
Yeah.
put in that
Okay.
request.
Do we need that in any kind of form of a motion, or just Not necessarily.
I'll do
I don't
it.
think it has to be a motion, but I do think that they need to be,
Okay.
they need to be at this next meeting.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, I'm pinning my ideas.
All right. All right, any further conversation regarding point number 3 on our agenda, Shell Building Update? So the action item will be, I will request that Runnebaum and Martz both be present in person at our next meeting, and we'll ask that we receive monthly reports thereafter.
Very good.
All right?
Yes.
Item number 4 on our agenda is just other business.
I've got a question.
Yes, sir.
I saw in previous minutes, reference to the Dunn Hospital Fund, off and on, different times. I assume that was from the sale of the hospital
Yes.
to St. Vincent. What's the balance in the account and what's that money used for?
So
And who
there,
controls it?
so there was, when we were constituted as the redevelopment commission, there was around $1.1 million in that fund,
Yeah.
Jack. And that was given to the redevelopment commission's jurisdiction from the county council. We did not have a strategic plan for how to spend that, or a sense of what was the best, what the county's best interest was for the use of it. We have in essence used it as an internal source of capital. We've made some expenditures, or promised to make some expenditures using those funds, and then promise that we will reimburse that fund when we start receiving significant TIF revenues. So right now, we're basically using it as a source of capital, low-cost source of
I
capital.
saw a mention of a bridge project and a Mill Creek
Yeah, we've done some
Road
paving, yeah, we've done some,
paving,
Right,
but that's all in connection with Lehigh. And-
yeah,
right.
But those funds came out of the Dunn bucket.
yeah.
Method of simply returning part of the abatement tip. Right.
Yeah, yeah, as the abatement starts to roll off and TIF revenue starts to come in, we've said we will reimburse that fund and make
I
it
think
whole
the
again.
same thing's true with what monies that we've been pledged to the fire station, the fire department. That's being
Mitchell?
reimbursed as well. Yeah, we used some of the Dunn funds for that. And so that's being reimbursed with tip money as well whenever,
It's a good-looking fire building.
yeah.
It is. So,
Hope our building can look as nice as that when it's completed.
all right. So that's the story on the Dunn Hospital
Thank you.
money. You bet.
Right.
But we haven't defined a vision of what we think those funds should be used ultimately, Jack, and that's,
Sounds like you've been busy with other issues.
we have been.
You actually may recall part of that, I'm sure, the sale of the hospital, because there was over $2 million originally that was in the RDC, but that was before us. That was actually JD and, I don't even remember now, we go all along. But by the time it got to us, it would dwindle down to like 1.1 million, 1.2, something like that.
Yeah, there were some questions, I think, as to where some of that money ended up, but
Yeah, I remember Michael being on the board, and, because they were gonna give the hospital away, if you remember correctly.
You know, there were some merger proposals that both got shut
Yeah.
down over the years,
Right.
and I was on both sides of that
Yeah.
proposal.
Yeah.
I do have additional questions.
But anyhow, that's how we got to where we're at.
He didn't hear you.
Yeah, Rex.
Do we have any information on Lido as to?
I can't hear you on what?
For Lido,
Lido?
yeah, for the county.
So the Lawrence County Growth Council is advertising their vacant position. And I think they were holding the window open to receive responses through maybe the end of this week or next week. So The Growth Council Board will be the ones that review the resumes and choose a successor. But no, I don't know much more than that.
So in the interim, Radius is still kind of helping oversee some of that, right?
Trying to. I've had a chance to witness our county council in their efforts to deal with tax abatements, and so, yeah. We're responding to RFPs, Rex, as requests for proposals come in, typically from the state of Indiana. We look at them, Ann McComb from the Radius staff and I. We consider whether there is a building or a site in Lawrence County that is suitable to meet the requirements, is the letter of the law. And then we also look at, kind of the broader things. There's a project that came through, for example, that was looking to employ 2,000 people, and we kind of concluded Lawrence County probably wasn't going to be able to support a new 2,000 employee company, so we didn't respond to that, for instance. Or someone's looking for 400 acres. Lawrence County doesn't really have a 400-acre site, so we can't respond to that either. But we're responding to several.
Okay. Thanks for the update.
Wasn't much substance to it, but I don't know what's going on behind the curtain, to be honest. All right, any other topics to come up before or under other business? All right. Seeing none, then we will plan to adjourn. Our next meeting will be the second Thursday in August, as is typical, whatever that date is. And we want to sign minutes, I presume? Okay. Is this copy okay to use? Hearing no other topics to arise, we will declare this meeting adjourned and meet again next month.
Move to adjourn.
Got a motion?
Second.
And a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. There you go, Wally.